Darth Bane is undisputably and unquestionably one of the most powerful and revolutionized Sith Lords to ever live, with a midichlorian count on par with that of even Darth Revan's and Grandmaster Yoda's, and perhaps even the famed Sith Lord and the creator of the double-bladed lightsaber Exar Kun. Darth Bane truly revolutionized the Sith Order and truly redid the ways and methods that the Sith were conducted, instigating and insinuating the rule of two, instigating that there would only be two Sith at any given time, one being a master and the other being an apprentice, the master to hold the power and the apprentice to crave it. Darth Bane put his strategic mind to the test and saw that through this rule of two, the masters and the apprentices would get strong every generation, with the apprentices eventually overthrowing the masters and taking on their own apprentice, full well knowing that they would eventually be betrayed and killed by the one they had taught. Darth Bane's proficiency in lightsaber combat and the Force were unrivaled for his time, and even after nearly a year in Sith training, he was able to defeat the Swordmaster of the Sith Academy on Korriban Kassim in a lightsaber duel and kill him, considered to be the best and most powerful Sith in the galaxy, even above the Sith Lord such as Githany, a Sith who was extremely powerful in the Force and naturally Force-attuned and sensitive such as him, and even Lord Khan, the leader of the supposed Brotherhood of Darkness that put all Sith Lords equal with one another in the ranks. However, there is one part of Darth Bane's immensely intriguing story that interests me, that being his own crimson lightsaber crystal. Upon just looking throughout the Star Wars archives, you might assume that this lightsaber crystal does not bear any significant resemblance or does not bear anything important. It is just a normal lightsaber crystal, and one of the Sith and corrupt with the dark side. However, it is anything far from that. Bane loved this crystal so hard he came to name it his own heart, naming the crystal Bane's heart. And today, we shall be delving into the entire history, mysteries, ancient inscriptions, and lore orbiting around this very crystal, the crystal that would come to be known as Bane's heart. Before we proceed, Acolytes, I would like to remind you that many of the starships that have docked in our archives and immersed themselves in knowledge have not yet completed their destiny by striking the unsubscribe button. The subscribe button is leading an Eclipse-class Star Destroyer along with an entire fleet of TIE fighters across the galaxy. The only way to stop it is to hit it and prevent the galaxy from falling into turmoil once again. With that out of the way, Acolytes, let's begin. Bane's heart was a unique carmine lightsaber crystal bestowed onto the original apprentice of the Rule of Two in Darth Zena by her own Sith Master, Darth Bane, following the 7th Battle of Ruusan. She utilized it in a double-bladed lightsaber, which she named after the crystal itself. The lightsaber crystal eventually came into the possession of the Dark Jedi, who was eventually brutalized and murdered by the droid commander and leader of the Confederacy of Independent Systems and supreme commander of the droid armies in General Grievous, the Padawan of Count Dooku, who was obsessed with lightsaber combat, either on Deka or Necropolis, as we can assume. Grievous proceeded to store the weapon aboard his own personal starfighter, which was later recovered and salvaged from this starfighter by Imperial forces into the age of the Galactic Empire and used as part of the NK project. The Bane's Heart lightsaber was eventually wielded by NK Necrosis during the Galactic Civil War between the Galactic Empire and the Rebel Alliance, until he was assassinated and killed by a group of spacers who took the crystal from his dead corpse. This Bane's heart was incredibly dangerous and far more dangerous than any other lightsaber crystal without any external powers or environmental abilities. It was discovered during the year 1 ABY and was located mainly on Kashyyyk. It is the second unique lightsaber color crystal available to players in the Star Wars galaxies and Empire Divided, the first being Sunrider's Destiny. This crystal is insanely interesting and important in Star Wars lore, as it, while looking like a normal crystal on the outside, was exceedingly dangerous. It was also exceedingly dangerous due to the fact that it had the randomized potential that if it was not the traditional owner, such as Darth Zana or Darth Bane, or someone following the line of the Rule of Two, then the lightsaber to release a powerful electric pulse and discharge that made it exceedingly difficult for anyone other than the rightful owner of the lightsaber to utilize it in combat. The Bane's Heart Crystal would literally work against your opponent, and eventually it could even prove fatal if the being was very weak, and possibly old. This is why General Grievous was very highly at risk if he utilized his lightsaber in combat. As we know, General Grievous was one of the most brutal, powerful, and oppressive opponents that the galaxy has ever seen, brutalizing the Jedi into submission, beating Kit Fisto, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and widely considered to be one of the greatest lightsaber duelists in all of Star Wars lore, and in Legends continuity among the top 10 and possibly even the top 5 in speculation. If General Grievous had attempted to use this lightsaber crystal in combat Bane's heart, then he would have nearly died, due to the fact that General Grievous was originally a Kaleesh warlord who was shot down by a turbo laser by Count Dooku. He was eventually reformed, with 96% of his robotic build being crafted. General Grievous was formed from a Kaleesh warlord and seemingly god into a brutal civil monster that had the ability to brutalize Jedi into submission and assassinate them with mere difficulty, with seriously no strain whatsoever. If General Grievous had attempted to use this lightsaber crystal in combat, due to the fact that his metallic build and durasteel body was nearly entirely and always made up of his material and material gain, General Grievous would have most certainly, or at least been incredibly shocked. He might have died due to the fact that General Grievous's heart, alongside his brain and eyes, were the only things remaining left of his organic tissue and body. This means that if the discharge had been powerful enough, and General Grievous had ignored the small bursts of pain he had felt prior, the discharge could have stopped his heart due to its exposure, and then it could have possibly even stopped his brain, killing the droid general. Anyway, that was a severe danger that came with wielding Bane's heart, the lightsaber crystal utilized by Darth Bane and Darth Xanar. It was incredibly significant in Star Wars lore, and states its claim as possibly the most dangerous and innately powerful lightsaber crystals in all of Star Wars lore, ruled by one of the founding members of the Rule of Two, which eventually culminated in the defeat of the Jedi at the hands of Sith Emperor Darth Sidious. Anyway, my friends, this is where I bid you farewell. Be sure that you have assassinated the subscribe button using your Bane's Heart lightsaber, and I hope that you are not on the end of my lightsaber in a galaxy far, far away.